Okay, not at all. It's Perk Aleph, Posuk Ches. Okay? Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to Klal Yisrael. Reino Satul Fechem Soretz. You should see, I'm giving you before you the land. Bo Rishu Esoretz. Come and conquer the land. Asher Nishba Hashem Lavasechem. Lavrom Yitzchak LiYaakov Losis Lohem L'Zamachreim. That Hashem had promised to give to your forefathers, Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov, to give to them and their children after them. So over here, Rashi, if you look at Rashi, Bo Rishu, come and conquer. Eim Arab Bedover. Nobody would contest your rights to the land. And to conquer it, you wouldn't even have conquer it with war. If you wouldn't have spent spies, if you wouldn't have sent spies, you wouldn't have needed weaponry to conquer it. You would have just walked in, taken over. It's interesting, just a glimpse of this. When they came into Canaan, wherever they turned, people were burying their dead. So the Meraglim, 10 of the 12 Meraglim of the spies, how did they interpret this? They said, it's a land which devours its inhabitants. Proof of the pudding is, wherever we went, everybody was burying their dead. Kolev and Yeshua, how did they interpret this? It's miraculous. It's unbelievable. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to go there and not to be noticed. He caused this plague, they're all dying, and because they're preoccupied with their dead, with their grieving over their dead, therefore we go unnoticed. So if they would have seen it that way, would have then been a question, it's a land of giants, it's not conquerable, it's fortified. Here you see clearly, the plague is happening, you're spying the land, they don't even notice you. So what do you mean you can't conquer the land? It's not conquerable. It's a land of giants. As Hashem is bringing the plague now, which is causing them just to die like flies, to not be noticed. You would just walk in, take it over, they just die before you. You wouldn't need weaponry. So why do you need the weaponry? Because you believed it's only you're going to conquer the land. You know, we read in later, Moshe Rabbeinu says to Klal Yisrael, when you come into land and you're going to assume tremendous wealth, and you're going to say, that it's the power of my hand and my own ability brought about all this success, what's going to happen? You become arrogant, ultimately Hashem is going to take it from you. Hashem says, if you believe I do it, then I do it. And then you stay focused on what you're supposed to do. But if you attribute all your success to yourselves, Hashem says, now you're on your own. If you're on your own, you have to follow the natural process. War is what? Is weaponry. But if you would have believed it's me, not a problem. If you would have stayed focused on what you're supposed to, they wouldn't need that weaponry. So if they would have seen it right, it's unheard of. People dying wherever they're going. Why is it happening? So they attribute it to the natural habit, to the environment. The environment is not survivable. But they don't understand. Of course it is survivable. It's only Hashem caused this miracle so you should be able to just walk in and take over. So that was like a glimpse of what was supposed to happen. But because you misinterpreted that, and you said, no, it's a land that devours its inhabitants, Hashem says, now you do it yourself. We had an Orach Chaim HaKodesh. Initially, when they came with the request from Meraglim, so Hashem says to Moshe, Shlach l'cho Meraglim, you should send spies to El Eretz Canaan, Asher Ani Nosei Lochem, to Eretz Canaan that I am giving to you. So Orach Chaim HaKodesh asked the question, send spies to El Eretz Canaan. What does he have to add that I am giving to you? We have throughout Bereshis, Canaan is land that Hashem is giving to Avram and his progeny afterwards, continuously, the land of Canaan. Why does he have to add that little piece? The land that I am giving to you. So Rechaim HaKodesh over there explains that he made it very clear. If a person is gifting something to a person and the property has tenants on it, it's not tenant free. So the person says, but I can't get the tenants out. So the benefactor says, but if I'm gifting the land, it's obvious I'm going to deliver it tenant free, it's going to be tenant free. The recipient of that gift doesn't have to worry about what's going to be with the tenants, because the gifter is saying it's tenant free. Hashem says, you don't have to remove the giants. You don't have to conquer the land. If I'm gifting it, it's Eretz Asher Anino Sein Lochem. If Hashem is the benefactor and is giving it, is there a problem with giants? There are no problems. It's never an issue. It's tenant free. And just to have a glimpse of that, when they went in, people are dying. What is that already? That's already foretelling what's going to happen. But how did they interpret it? It was a misinterpretation. You see, this only confirms. And it confirms our suspicion that Hashem is taking us there to kill us. It's a land that devours its inhabitants. He never intended us to go there. There's a famous word from the Chofetz Chaim. The Meraglim said something which is not to be understood. They had said when they came back, Hechozuku mimenu. They said that the nations of Canaan are even stronger than him. So Rashi cites the Medrash, Klapi Malo. Even God couldn't bring us in there. Meaning he takes out of Egypt, because that's only one king. But to be able to conquer a land which has 31 kings, it's even beyond his ability. So the Chofetz Chaim asks, and here we're speaking about people stood at Sinai, and they understand nobody exists outside of Hashem himself. And what kind of talk is this? That even versus God can't even do this. So the Chofetz Chaim explains that Hashem created the world within the context of mishpat, whether you deserve or you don't deserve. The way Klal Yisrael viewed themselves, to merit this level of miracle, to be able to conquer the land, that they should be able to conquer the land, they're not worthy. So if they're not worthy, they don't have enough schus to be able to take over the land. As a result of that, they said, even he's not able to bring us in there, because based on the system which he set in place, it doesn't work with the system. Therefore, it's a death trap. But if they would have only understood that, if they would have had the faith and understood that it has nothing to do with their worthiness, but rather it has to do with Hashem being the one who's bringing them in, and it's not based on this evaluation of what they deserve or don't deserve. It's something I promised your forefathers. Therefore, and that's what he says, Bo Rishu, you just walked in, taken over. You wouldn't have needed Klei Zayin, but because you believed that it was you and not him, which was considered a lack of faith, as a result of it, now you have to go and conquer it in the conventional way with weaponry. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. I'll give you an example. We find that after Yericho, a miracle happened. The walls, which we discussed today in the Mishnah Brachos, the walls, they just sunk into the ground. They took over. The next battle was Ai. When they went to Ai, there were 36 casualties in Ai. Yeshua understood that even though we're conquering Ai in a semi-conventional way, there should have been no casualties. That he understood, there were 36 casualties, he understood there's a problem. Nobody should have died in that war. Wait, who ever heard of such a thing? You're going to conquer these nations who are powerful. You shouldn't have casualties. Even though we didn't merit the miracle that we would have merited, if not for the Meraglim, it shouldn't have happened. Yeshua understood immediately there's an issue. What was the issue? Ochon had taken from the spoils of Jericho, which he wasn't permitted to. And as a result of that, Chot Yisrael, the Jews failed, therefore they don't merit that divine protection. So again, even within the conventional approach to conquer the land with weaponry, but factually it shouldn't have happened. So you could imagine if there wouldn't have been the spies, you would have just walked in, taken over. So again, if a person lives on the spiritual plane, what is the context of our existence? It's supernatural, but that's natural. The world was meant to facilitate the Torah. So if it's used properly, Hashem says it's all there for you. As it says, if you study my Torah and you're committed, and that's primary, and nothing is important other than that, The bounty is beyond. The rain comes in time beyond, and you don't even know where to put the bounty. The non-Jews will fear you. Your enemies will flee before you. They'll come towards you and they'll flee in 7 directions. The beginning of B'chukosai. It's unheard of. It's miraculous. That's not miraculous. That's the way it's supposed to be. If Hashem created the world to facilitate the Torah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Except if you don't, where it speaks about the Tocha, then it's to the extreme opposite, which is disastrous. Then it comes to haunt us. There's a famous Orach Chaim HaKadosh in Zosa Brocha, where Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha v'yisocha b'olecha." Zvulun, rejoice in your tent. Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha. Zvulun, when you go out. Zvulun, there was a agreement, a partnership which Yaakov Avinu set up between the tribes of Zvulun and Yisachar. Yisachar studied Torah, and Zvulun fully supported Yisachar, that Yisachar should not be distracted from the Torah studies. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to Zvulun, "Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha v'yisocha b'olecha." When you go out to the high seas to do commerce, you should rejoice because Yisachar is in the tent of Torah. So Orach Chaim HaKadosh asks, when a person goes on a business trip, he hopes to succeed, but could you rejoice before you've made the success? After you've closed the deal and you're coming back with all the successes, you rejoice. But here he says, "Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha." You already should rejoice when you're going out. So Orach Chaim HaKadosh says it's a known fact. It's a fact that a person who goes to support Torah, guaranteed you will have success. Therefore, Moshe is saying to Zvulun, because the objective and the emphasis and the thrust is to support Yisachar, therefore you can already rejoice even when you're going out, even before you come upon your successes, because guaranteed you will succeed. Therefore, Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha. You already should rejoice even when you're going out. You're just going to pick up, the person gets a call. You've won the $500 million lottery. Just come pick up the check. You haven't picked up the check yet. Doesn't make a difference. You're already rejoicing when you're going to pick up the check because it's there. If the objective is to support Torah and Yisachar is studying as they should study, therefore you should rejoice in advance because it's guaranteed, without a question, that you will succeed. You're just going to recoup the success and bring it back.